from the
Sure.
Patreons.
Yes.
This one's interesting to me. If YouTube hadn't worked out for Woody and Kyle, what trajectory do they think their lives would have taken? For Taylor, if your current line of work hadn't planned out, where would it have taken you? I'll go first. So, Cisco is obviously where I was before YouTube. And as I look back on it, maybe through a harsh light, I felt like towards the end of my time at Cisco, I wasn't doing what I was really good at. So what I'm really good at was sort of like programming and leading teams that were programming. If you needed something done, like my project management was really good. I'd take the project, I'd break it down, come up with the timeline, get the right people on the right tasks, and make sure that we tracked towards hitting our deadlines and get shit done, on time, on budget, and bug free. Like that I was really good at. As I advanced in my career, I moved from, hey, Woody, this is what we need, to, hey, Woody, what do you think we need? And that wasn't I wasn't a natural at that. Just looking at the landscape of Cisco IT and thinking, what should we be doing better? It was kind of broad, and a lot of the changes seemed like unnecessary changes to me. People just resume building by grabbing some hip tech and wanting experience with it so they could leave Cisco with this fucking one project that's not like the others and a new thing on their resume. Anyway, but I was elevated into that position and I was working towards these like member of technical staff type jobs. And I think I would have been really stressed at being a round peg in a square hole. I would have been promoted to something that I wasn't naturally good at. I wonder how that would have gone if I would have gotten good at it, or if I would have always been like, fucking trying to fool these people into thinking that I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I had talked to my dad about doing something with small business of some kind. And we'd kind of made a deal that if I went back and got like a fledgling business degree, he would front me in like whatever venture I wanted to go into. And like the little ideas I had were like one of those like quick oil change places. We didn't have one in our town. And I was like, I really need one of those quick oil change places. Like people have to go to Shade Tree Mechanics here. And like, I know it's a small town, but like get one of them going and we see it's productive. Then like, we got to make another one now and stick it over there. And sure enough, like 3 or 4 years after that, like someone did it. Like one of my dad's friends actually that I used to play poker with did it. And it's been a wildly successful business. And they've got like 3 of them now. So I was looking at something like that, like some sort of a small business. We'd also looked at restaurant franchises at the time. There wasn't a Chick-fil-A in our town. And it just seemed like those. I don't remember what the qualifications.
That would do well.
You just had to be a fake Christian, basically, and come up with like $200,000, and they basically give you a license to print money. It seemed like real estate was so cheap there by the interstate at the time. So I was looking at something like that. I knew I didn't want to work, as far as like on somebody's like hourly thing. I wanted to own something or be my own boss in some way.
Chick-fil-A is a mixed bag, by the way, as a franchise. I was about to say franchise owner, but the thing is, you don't own it, right? When you buy a Wendy's, you own that restaurant. You can sell it. When you buy a McDonald's, etc. With Chick-fil-A, you are paying, I don't know how much it is, like $250,000. You're buying a job, and then you will run a Chick-fil-A that you can't sell, that isn't yours. It's profitable typically, right? So you might be paying $250,000 for a job that pays $200,000 a year, but just know that's your deal. You're not turning it into a $3 million Wendy's like you could there.
Yeah, and you can.
Later.
Yeah, like that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I was looking at stuff like that. I like the idea of, I don't know, the mechanics of business and sort of starting with this initial investment and like having a good business plan, and the hiring of employees actually intrigued me. Having the power over someone's life.
Dude,
at Chick-fil-A.
One of the worst things about fast food, like, because I've thought about owning stuff like that before too. Hiring people who want to work for fast food wages sounds awful. Hiring people who don't value their job, like at Cisco, everyone really valued their job. Everyone desperately wanted to impress their boss and their boss's boss, and they typically had mortgages and families, and they needed that job. And sure, people came and left, but mostly these are professionals trying to advance in their careers. At Chick-fil-A or Wendy's or whatever, half of that staff will say fuck you and walk out literally on the spot, no notice.
They've done it. You see it all the time.
Yeah, and having staff like that doesn't care about their job So what you're almost like asking them to work, like instead of saying, hey, I need more out of you, you're not working hard enough. They're just, it's like, I'm glad you came at all.
That's where having like a big family would be so clutch. Like if you're one of those Mormons that's got like 8, 9, 10 kids, and you can like have them like running through that bitch. Like, yeah, Johnny Sr., he's the GM now, and Tina, she runs the night shift, and little Bobby here, he's a fry cook, aren't you, boy? Did you burn those fries again? I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm out of your pay now. Yes, Daddy. like you had your family in there working for you, but you're absolutely right. Like I was a fast food employee for 10 days one time. We hated it. We hated it.
And
it sounds awful. But you got lots of free days.
I'm guessing you didn't give 2 weeks notice, right?
I just disappeared.
Just to let you know, I'll be quitting.
I love that meme where the black guy just goes, deuces, and he just like vaporizes. He like turns invisible. That's how everybody is at like Burger King, fast food type restaurants, just vaporize. They're gone.
You're talking about having a bunch of kids.
Are you like do your career?
I was already thinking about like Amish people, but yeah, I don't know. I some kind of sales, I guess I would have to do. Like I don't have any technical skills, but I'm pretty good at speaking and public speaking and stuff like that. So, and I've taken a shying to sales when I've had to do it, middling kind of. But, yeah, if it's not a job that revolves around my ability to speak, I'm not qualified to do it. So yeah, I would some kind of sales, and that'd probably be where most of the money was.
Okay, that I agree with. Like if I was career counseling Taylor, if you want money, sales, because you definitely could be great at it, and you have a natural affinity for it. Like you would just crush in sales. The downside of sales is the life you live, right? There's travel, there's different people. It's hard to be a successful salesman who eats dinner with the family every night. Right? That's not typically part of the gig. The other thing, Taylor's really smart. And I feel like you could put Taylor, there's a million industries out there when no one knows it before they start. If Taylor worked at UPS, they would quickly recognize he's smarter than 99% of the other employees, and he'd be in management, and he'd learn the shipping industry, and that's that. Take UPS.
Use a man on the inside.
It's like to give you warnings.
Swap it with so many gigs. There's so many industries out there where no one knows them until you work there, where you could rise up. If you wanted to be home,
I appreciate it. Yeah. It'd probably be sales, really.
If you want money.
If money was the drive. And like there's always, at least everybody, all my friends in sales, like it's almost like they're bank robbers, where like they're looking, at least the ones that sell big expensive things or real estate, like some of them frame it like, oh, if I sell like 3 more of these units or whatever, I don't need to work for 8 months. I'm just going to go do whatever I want for a while because I have more than enough money. And I don't think that I would do well with that kind of structure, because I would start to feel guilty about not working. Like I can't imagine taking that. Are you guys like that? Where like when you're supposed to be doing a job and you get too much time off, you get like antsy, restless. You just feel like you're wasting time, or at least I do.
Yeah, I don't know. So Cisco was project driven, and I almost felt like I deserved some amount of weeks of not being worked very hard before the next one kicked off.
Well, that's totally fair and reasonable. I mean, like these people who are like a couple, they'll sell cars or sell real estate for 4 months out of the year, make enough to live comfortably, and the other 8 months, it's like, oh, what are you up to, Adam? Oh, I'm just chilling. It's all right. You can always go back to car sales, Kyle.
Could. Or
does the idea
thing more likely? That's where you make so much more money.
Oh,
that would be the goal. Do finance.
There's a lot of positions in different companies, like where the salespeople make more than like the middle management above them. That's not the case for cars.
You got to sell so many fucking cars for that to be the case. Like if you're selling 30 fucking cars a month, yeah. But if you're like a finance manager, you just sit over there and chill, and already done deals come to you, and you just try to sell them a little extra, or you try to make a point or two on their interest rate, and you're getting paid off of that. But you're not having to like deal with customers, at least as a salesman. Like you're dealing with 8 customers for every 2 you sell, probably something like that. Like so much of your time is being wasted. 100% of a sales manager or of a finance manager's work. I mean, not 100, like maybe somebody like something happens with their financing or something and it falls through, but 95% of their customers are deals that they're going to make something on. My finance manager had an $80,000 necklace.
Jesus Christ.
He had it was like that material that's like a bike chain. You know how that like bike chains are, that sort of interlocking links, except it was platinum and diamonds, and like every link was another diamond. And like like those guys, like watches cost more than cars. Like all they were always, and like they were like
gaudy.
It was like something off The Sopranos. How like every time you see them, they're in a nicer suit.
Yeah.
Like wealthy though, because I'm hearing a lot of bad financial decisions. So you could be wealthy and make those, or you could be not wealthy and make those.
Well, I mean, they were making tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month. Like they were spending it, and they were working a lot of hours, but yeah, they were just making a lot of money. I mean, the answer is both. I think that they were making a lot of money and spending a lot of money, because they were like, the one in particular I'm talking about was a good-looking black guy in his 30s, and it's just like, this dude's going out tonight with that $80,000 chain on and pulling some pussy in his like $130,000 car. Like they were always driving like brand
no
new.
savings.
Maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know. He wasn't financed. Maybe he knows better. Maybe he's like, do you know how much this necklace has appreciated in the last 6 months alone? Like for all I know,
nothing at all.
Nothing. No, because it's jewelry and I bought it at 4 times what I can sell it
probably
for.
So. Yeah. I mined these diamonds myself. Probably
no, I bought it at the duty-free shop in Trinidad. They assured me that it was real.
And then just like the sales managers, the guys who were like getting a flat percentage of all used car sales or a flat percentage of all new car sales, like they were just making ungodly amounts of money, like less than 100K a month, but more than 50K a month, shit like that. And plus, like, because they were in that management position, they never had to buy a car again. They just always got to drive brand new cars, like pick one off the lot kind of situation.
That is a cool thing about like their job, is just never dealing with the DMV, just dealer plates, drive wherever you want, do whatever you want. And
company insurance. They're not paying insurance either.
How much are the guys who like own, I guess your dealership is what you know the most about. The guy who owned that, he was like multi-million.
Well, the guy who owns that's probably a billionaire, because that's AutoNation.
Oh, then okay, then he's a billionaire. Yeah. That's
AutoNation.
chain.
It's the largest retailer in the world as far as I know.
Oh.
That would be funny if you decided to go back to car sales as a side gig and you promoted it on the show like you did for the motorcycle thing. You're like, I'll be down selling cars at the AutoNation.
We got a Hyundai Sonata here.
There's like a line. They're like, no, I'm only buying from Kyle. Everybody hates you.
The like there was the general manager. He made incredible money. But then there was the guy who was the regional manager, and he was the corporate regional manager of like, I don't know if it was the Southeast or just Atlanta, but there were like 13 dealerships in Atlanta alone that had the team name associated with them. Team was just like either the Atlanta or the Southeast version of AutoNation. Same branding and everything, but Team was our like local name. And the dude was obsessed with The Sopranos. Like this is when Sopranos was in its heyday, and he dressed like a Sopranos character. He had his hair slicked straight back. He had that had the mannerisms, like the big suits and stuff, the watches. His ringtone was the Sopranos theme music. Like he was, I wish I could remember that guy's name now. I could probably look him up on the internet. Another one of the head finance manager. I won't say his name, but like he was like 5'7", 5'8", but he had such a huge personality. Like. He was clearly like you'd be like, yeah, I met that guy. He's kind of short, huh? Is he? I don't know. I remember him being a big guy. And you look over, from afar he is tiny, huh? But when you're talking to him, you're blown away by like his charisma and his personality. And I know what he did with his money, because he owned a chain of GNCs.
Got into waste management.
Got into waste management in the carting industry, environmental cleanup.
What was that word? Carting industry?
The carting industry. Carting. It means the garbage. It's a fancy word for garbage.
Oh, I never heard that. Okay.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of